Hello everyone, I'm Grace Krokitis, the Director of Marketing for Vizioncore, and I'll be your host for this session in Vizioncore's Ask the Expert series, where we present the latest and greatest information on all the topics you want to know about. Welcome and thank you for joining us today. My special guest is Mr. George Pradel, the Director of Strategic Alliances for Vizioncore, and our topic today is vOptimizer Pro, Vizioncore's latest product. So welcome, George.
Thanks, Grace.
So let's get something straightened out right away. First of all, the vOptimizer Pro product that we're releasing today is not the same product as the Invertis Optimizer product that was released out a few years ago, correct?
Correct. Basically what we've done is we've taken a look at the vOptimizer, or the Optimizer product that was built for Workstation previously, and kind of took some of the ideas that that product had to do for Workstation, basically resizing virtual machines, but then taking that to the ESX level. So it's a VMware product built strictly for ESX, and it also addresses the 64K alignment issue as well. So this product has been totally reinvented, and now it works with VMware's ESX server.
Okay, so explain exactly what vOptimizer Pro does.
Okay, vOptimizer Pro has about 3 different things that it does that I think customers are very interested in. One of them is that vOptimizer Pro will actually align along what's called the 64K boundary. VMware came out with a best practice that said if you align along the 64K boundary, you could see improvements in your disk I/O. And it makes a lot of sense without getting into a lot of technical details here, but basically having that alignment, kind of like aligning your car, it just makes everything go a lot more smoothly once things are in place. We've seen about a 9 to 13% performance increase with this, and most customers are wanting to do this, but the problem is that today it's a very difficult thing to do. One of the other things the product does is it allows you to resize a virtual machine. When you build a virtual environment, and I'm sure many of you can associate with this, is the problem is that when you build VMs, you're not psychic, so you don't know what size of a VM to build. So when I've got my SQL server, maybe I had 146 gig on the physical machine, and now when I go into the virtual world, well, how much disks should I give it? Because let's face it, it's a lot more expensive disk when you're on the SAN. So we make it a certain size, but the reality is later, maybe that size isn't working anymore. The other thing is that you might build a virtual machine that is supposed to be going, just for test dev purposes, and next thing you know, it's being used for production. Well, the problem is that you've probably built it a little bit smaller than you would have had you known it was going to go into production. So you need an easy way to resize that virtual machine. And then thirdly, maybe you want to really take advantage of as much SAN disk space as you can. This year, it's no secret to anybody that the economy's hit everybody pretty hard. Budgets are slashed, and you're trying to figure out how to make, do more with less, and how to reclaim some of that disk space that's just laying dormant right now. So vOptimizer Pro allows you to do that by going in and right-sizing VMs on a regular basis. The product has a GUI interface, and on a regularly scheduled basis, you can actually change the size of your VMs with basically a quota. So this allows you to change them to have a certain amount of disk space available to that virtual machine, but also to really have a handle and have control on it. So I think those 3 main factors are the reasons why customers are clamoring right now to have us come out and talk to them about vOptimizer Pro.
So if a customer wanted to do this, what other products would they use other than vOptimizer Pro? What is out there that's like vOptimizer Pro?
Well, that's one of the biggest problems, is that if you want to do the 64K alignment, right now there's a couple of utilities if you have a specific type of disk storage, but it's something, and those are cryptic to say the least. However, there's really nothing else that can do this in a GUI format and actually be able to do this on a schedule basis, etc. As far as resizing virtual machines, you can resize virtual machines up using some of the VMware tools, but the problem is then you have to use something called a partition manager to go into that VM and change the size of that. You don't have to do that with vOptimizer Pro. Everything's already included. The other thing that it has the capability to do is resizing virtual machines down. You can't resize a VM down using the VMKFS tools for very good reason. I mean, because when you're talking about sizing a virtual machine down, it creates a lot of risk. So trying to do it, there's really no other tools to do that are out on the market today.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, the only option if you don't have vOptimizer Pro is a manual, rather difficult process to resize a VM.
Yeah, absolutely, and that process is fraught with a lot of danger. Because of the fact that it's a manual process, most of you don't have the wherewithal to be able to sit and watch a process for 3 hours. Usually you get pulled away on other assignments and such. So what this does, that it pretty much removes their human intervention issues that can cause problems with this type of a thing. So it really reduces the amount of time that it takes. I've seen it take anywhere from 4 to 8 hours to do this, and that's going to vary based upon the virtual machine. So it's not a hard and fast number, but the thing is that you have to sit there and babysit it the whole time. So that's also that's kind of a soft cost to this product, but what is your time worth? And to be able to have that VM down, no matter what product you use, you're going to have that virtual machine powered off. So you also want to reduce the amount of time that virtual machine is powered off.
Okay, so currently, what platforms does vOptimizer Pro support?
vOptimizer Pro supports on the virtual machines that you can optimize Windows XP, Windows 2000, Windows 2003. We'll be expanding to some of other things, but really to get started and really get a feel for how much disk space you can save, most customers, these are going to be your basic virtual machines that you'll have, and you'll be able to see a significant savings just with this subset. So as you go forward, you'll be able to to do this with other machines, but today it's Windows XP 2000 and 2003. As far as on the server side of it, this is a VMware exclusive product that works with VMware ESX Server.
Okay, but so from the customer perspective, this sounds like a solution that would really benefit a large organization running a large virtualized environment. Is that the customer that's going to benefit the most from vOptimizer Pro?
They will. A large customer will benefit quite a bit from vOptimizer Pro. However, the smaller customer will also benefit from vOptimizer Pro. And I'll kind of take you through both use cases. The fact that a smaller customer, when I talk to them, they tell me, George, when we first built our virtual environment, we only had the disk that was actually inside the server. So we were very limited on the disk space that we were able to use. So we made our VMs smaller because we needed to fit all these VMs in a certain amount of space. But now these VMs are growing, we're running out of space, and I need some tool that can help me resize that and make it, that virtual machine a little bit larger and do that easily. Now, on an enterprise level, if you've got a large organization, that's where that 64K boundary is going to really give you a lot of benefit, because the fact that you've got a lot of disk I/O and that 9 to 13% improvement that we've heard that can happen with it, that's going to really benefit you. The other thing is that you're looking for ways that you can make those disks last a little bit longer, and that's what vOptimizer Pro will do for the larger customers. So frankly, large or small, I think almost all customers can find value in this product.
Okay, so how do you find out more about vOptimizer Pro?
All you have to do is go out to Vizioncore.com and look under the product section and look under the vOptimizer Pro section. That's going to have all kinds of cool stuff. It's got an ROI calculator. It's got a link so that you can download an evaluation of the product, which I highly recommend, since you can hear things about these products. I can talk about it, but when you see it actually operate in your own environment, that's pretty cool. The other thing is there's an under the hood document which will tell you exactly what's going on in that virtual machine, or what will go on in the virtual machine during that process. And there's also a hot link that goes to VMware's knowledge base article that talks about the 64K alignment.
Okay, so thank you very much, George. This was very interesting, and thank you everybody for joining us today, and look forward to seeing you next time.